I'm Kelsey from Just So, and this is my friend Maria.
Hello.
So, I really wanted to do a video on more in-depth English paper piecing, how to put our hexagons together, and I realized I've never really done that, and I'm not very good at it. So Maria was just showing me all of the beautiful things that she has made with English paper pieced hexies, and so I thought we could bring her in to show us some of the stuff that she knows, and I'm very excited. Hi, Amanda. How's it going? So this is our Thursday evening sip and sew. This is a video I try to do every week, and it's kind of like a free class. It kind of depends on the week what project we're working on. It's either a project or a technique. So tonight it's going to be a technique, and we're assuming that you already know how to make the hexagons. So do you want to show us what one single hexagon looks like?
Sure.
So the camera's right on this side. So this is the fabric already wrapped around the paper. And so we're assuming that you're already at that point. And if you've never done that before, I do have a part 1 video. So you can scroll back through our Facebook videos and look for the other English paper piecing video, and that'll show you how to actually get it to that point. But if you already have all of your hexagons, you could applique them onto a background without piecing them together, which is what I did in the first video, and that's really fun. But if you want to show up one of the flowers?
Sure.
If you want them to look like a grandmother's flower garden, just flower piece, then you have to piece them together. And so I've never really done this step before. So Maria's going to teach me how to do that today and teach all of you guys. Amanda, oh, you've been sitting here waiting. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. But first I wanted Maria to show us some of the projects that she has worked on. So can you show us your table runner?
Sure.
So we both have a love for hexagons. So my mom loves hexagons, and so it's fun to see the different ways that you can make hexy shapes because they're a little hard to just piece together normally. And so this is a really cute table runner that she made.
No, I'm going the wrong way.
You guys, it's weird. The camera's on one side, and it's really so. Look at how cute this is. I love it. So you used a ruler for it, right?
Yes.
You want to just give a brief show us how you did it?
Sure. Well, it's a template that I got from Missouri Star Quilt Company. It's 2 pieces, and so
I'll these ones up.
Okay.
So it looks like this.
This size is I don't know the exact size, but this inner size fits on 5-inch charm squares.
Oh, cool.
And so you would cut the shape out of your charm squares with this, and then you get background fabric and you cut it out to the outside shape here, and then you can get a piece of batting. It is sold in that shape, or you can cut it out yourself, and then you sandwich it all together with the right side of the backing down, and then the right side of the hexie middle up, and your batting in between.
And then it looks like this. And then you zigzag them together.
Well, at first you just straight line. I mean, you could zigzag it also, but you straight line stitch it. You fold the sides in, and then they miter just like the technique you showed with gluing them.
Yeah.
So when you fold them and then pin them, then you straight line stitch around or zigzag, and then you just butt them next to each other and then zigzag.
Just right up against each other and zigzag them together.
So then the whole thing is done on machine, which is nice.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So the English paper piecing techniques that we're talking about tonight are all by hand, which I think is really fun because then you have a hand project, and Maria was just traveling, and so she had this hand project to take along with her. So if that's something that you like, then this is a really fun way to kind of take it on the go. But if you like hexagons and you don't like hand piecing, then that's also a fun project. And then I also want you to show, show this one first. Okay. Sorry. Show this one first. This is so pretty. So your great-grandma made the flowers. Oh, look at how pretty this is. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. So do you know if she just regular pieced this?
She would have hand pieced this.
Hand pieced it, and it wasn't English paper piecing. It was just like a template that she would cut them out, maybe?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know for sure. My mom didn't know. My mom had these, and I took them from her because I I knew that she wouldn't have time to put them together.
Yeah.
And I kept them for a year thinking, I got to do something with them. And then I got the courage up and decided I'm just going to zigzag stitch them, or blanket stitch rather,
Yeah.
onto just white squares.
So they're appliqued on this, just a white background.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I mean, you could, and this fabric is probably flour and feed sacks, because my grandma and my great grandma, they were all farmers.
Okay.
So I know that they use that, but you can see like here she pieced that.
Oh yeah, there's a seam right down the middle.
But yeah, she would have hand sewn these
That's
together.
amazing.
Yeah.
So this is obviously antique mixed with new, but if you wanted to mount your flowers from your English paper piecing project onto a background, this is what it would look like. So that's one idea as well.
And this, I did give it to my mom.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. That's so cool.
Let me borrow it.
Hi, Christine. Oh, Scarlett, you're working on EPP today. How fitting. That's awesome. Hi, Missy. How's it going? Okay, so I'm going to switch us over here to the tabletop camera, and then you'll show us your one more. It's a very tiny project I wanted her to show. It's very small. You guys will be so impressed. And then she'll start showing us how to whip stitch these hexies together. So let's see here. Set this up.
Oops.
Okay. Here we go.
Oops, wrong direction.
Okay, look at this. So you can see in relation to our hands how tiny this is. And this is English paper piecing,
Yes.
right? So what we're going to show you guys today is the exact same technique, but it's that much smaller. So these are the hexies we're working with today.
And these are the 1 inch.
And these are 1 inch. So how big were these? Oh my gosh, that looks like.
But I did get it off a website. The woman's name is Emma Jones, and she has a YouTube channel, Emma Jones Vintage Sewing Box, and she is British. I love listening to her and watching her do the project. And this was a free printable pattern to make. This is a scissor case. So
I love that.
I just printed it off, and oops,
that's so cool.
I didn't show that.
Look at that. So cool. Okay, so Emma Jones Vintage Sewing Box, if you guys want to find this free pattern. I just think it's really fun to know. Obviously, when you learn a new technique, you might say, okay, that's cool, but what can I do with it? So I like to show different projects and things that you could do with this technique. So you can mount it on a background and applique it. Or you can make this tiny little project. But there's lots of different English paper piecing projects that you guys can find out there. If you have patterns or books that you're interested in, let us know. We can always order stuff like that. But let's go ahead and get started with these hexies. So tell us what materials that you use or tools. So we have...
Okay, well, I do the same method that you did with gluing them on. So I just glued all just old cotton, not old, but cotton pieces that I've had left over from other projects. I will fussy cut sometimes, meaning I'll put a specific picture in the middle, or I'll just pick out any of the fabric that I like.
Yeah, show us a fussy cut one.
Okay,
so this one's fussy cut. So she cut the hexagon out specifically so that the dog face would be in the middle. So you could choose fabric based off of that as well. The middle is a contrasting one. And then we just have, do you have a specific type of needle you like to use, or just any needle?
I just use any needle.
Okay.
I've got available.
Perfect.
For the most part. I mean,
I'm not a needle connoisseur, so I'm not going to judge anything.
I've tried to be I do like the shorter needle. I don't want a real long one, but I can't have one with the eye too small, because then I can't see to thread it. But I will use a cheater, my glasses, but then also a needle threader.
Okay.
If I have to. And
then we're using a dark thread today so you guys can see it better. But normally, would you use a thread that would blend in a little bit more?
I would. I tend to stick with just black and white.
Okay.
And I believe that these are
Polyester.
Yep, polyester, because I have heard that, you know, since I have the paper inside, I've heard that, you know, as you're going through, even if I'm trying not to hit the paper, it can rub over it and fray it. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's your choice.
Interesting. That's a
Yeah.
good tip.
But I usually just stick with these two
Okay.
because I'm kind of like, well, if I see a little thread, it doesn't bother me. But if it bothers anyone else, yeah, definitely match whatever. And I had a lot of this grunge, and so I was like, you know, maybe I should use that for the center of all of them. Just
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm going to do with all these yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so it looks like you
just
have
keep
the
making
yellow
them.
in the center
Yeah,
of all of those.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amanda said she wanted to use batik fabric, but heard it's harder to work with. This looks like a batik. Is this batik?
It is a batik, and so
Okay.
is this one. And I don't think batik is. I think it's nicer because it's got a little body to it. It's a little
Okay.
stiffer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's worse to work with is fabric that's maybe too thin,
Mhm.
or you know. But
I felt like if I was to use, because I have some wovens I really like,
yeah,
and I thought about using it for that, but I thought, I haven't actually tried it, but the more I've worked with the EPP Hexes, I thought, oh, this might be harder with how like soft and flimsy woven
Well,
is.
yeah,
so
it's
I
not
wonder
so
if
tight.
stiffer fabric might
Yeah.
be. So Amanda, maybe you could just try and see if you like it. Yeah, I guess it might depend on the person. I don't think that, it doesn't seem like it would be
Any more difficult or
Yeah.
any less?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Cindy said I added a hexie flower to a Mega Dream bag. That's cool. Maybe not the correct way. What are you talking about? You can put that on anything.
Yeah.
Hey Annie, how's it going? Well, Amanda, maybe you could cut out just one flower and see how you feel about it. And then if it goes well, then cut out your rest. You could always just use one on a small project if you end up not liking it, kind of like Cindy did, put it on a bag or a pillow or something so you're not wasting it, but you could just try it out and see how you feel. Okay, so we have to attach all 6 of these to the center. And then the part that I mentally have a hard time wrapping my mind around is how you then attach them to each other. So first, Maria's going to show us how to attach them to the center, and then she'll show us how to attach the sides together. So is that typically how you do it? You put them all in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, everybody's got their own way of doing it, but that is the way I like to do it. And I watched you put the knot in your thread, and I can never do it that way, but I saw this technique and I thought it was really cool. I don't know which way, this way?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just take my tail, oops, my wrong way. There we go, sorry.
There we go.
And I put it on top of my needle, and then I wrap it around, you know, a good 3 or 4 times. Hold on to what I just wrapped, and then I pull it down, and then it gives me a knot at the end. Well, that was, yeah, there we go.
That's so funny because I've learned that before, and that one's hard for me to do.
Okay, well then that's fine.
Try them either way, I guess.
Yeah, whatever works. So what I generally do is I lay them out, you know, and if they were directional or something, then I'd make sure that I kept them in whatever. Sorry.
Make sure that you have the right layout that you want.
Yep. So I'll take 2. And I'd like to put a clip on it just to help me hold it.
On the side, a side you're not sewing on.
Correct.
I assume. Okay.
Yep. And then I will start either.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom us in once you start sewing.
Okay.
So
I'll start putting my needle in and try to come out at the corner.
Sorry, there we go.
That's fine.
Okay, so you're slipping it under, like in between the fabric and the paper.
Correct.
Okay.
And then trying to come out right at the corner. I may not. There we go.
Okay.
And then I will go across to the other corner.
Look at that tiny stitch.
And then I will go back through that same area. And I will go through like an extra time just to kind of knot it.
Okay.
I guess to give it a little more stability.
And I guess you'll want to make sure that your stitch ends up on the right side of that corner. like the correct side that you're trying to sew on? Is that something
Yeah, right side meaning
like the side that you're gonna keep? Does that ever happen where you put the first stitch on the other side of the corner instead of the side that you want to be sewing on?
maybe. I don't know if I paid that close attention.
Well, I guess
Sorry,
you're gonna
yeah.
be sewing it together.
I'm gonna go
anyway.
this and see. For me, I go this direction
Okay.
from right to left. I've seen other people do it all different ways. So whatever's the most comfortable for you, because I can only hand stitch like this for so long. My hands get too like crampy. So I'll just go straight across.
So you're just taking a
Just
tiny bite of that fabric.
Yeah. And then I do try to make sure that the...
So can you feel with the needle the paper, like where the paper's at?
I can.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I haven't accidentally gone through the paper either. I'm sure I have. And like some people will, sometimes I'll have my thumb up so I can just kind of push the needle right straight across. And I might be taking a little more out of one than the other. Like I just try to get only a couple threads, but if I get a little more, that's okay for me. I mean, if you want to be, more precise, you can do that too. Oops.
So you were saying that you have like a magnifying thing that you like to use for this as well sometimes?
Yeah, I have a light, one of those, it's a real bright, what are those?
Oh,
yeah,
Light Bright? No. I think my mom has one.
Yeah, and it's got and I sometimes will use it, but then it kind of, I can't stare through it too long.
Yeah.
Like
But it's obviously a very detailed, small project, so finding a right tool for that might be helpful.
Right. If that's something that you need. I mean, I've got my reading glasses on to be able to see also. And my stitches aren't always like totally even.
I can see why you'd want a small needle too, because even the tiniest millimeter of room that a bigger needle would take up between the fabric and the paper probably makes a difference as you're slipping through those couple threads. So
yeah, and yeah, I can feel the paper, but I try to just stay right on top, like you said.
So have you always liked hand projects, or is that something you got into more recently?
I think more recently. I haven't done too much embroidery. My mom's really good at embroidery, and she's a seamstress. That's what she did when we were all growing up. And I do not care for clothing sewing.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I mean, I'm not perfect at this, and I can accept that in a blanket or quilt that I'm making, but
with something you're gonna wear,
yeah.
Not that you don't have to be precise with quilting, but it is a little bit
more forgiving.
Yeah, it's a little bit more forgiving. Man, that Summer Moon project I'm working on right now, I had to stretch this one block so much. It's so wrinkled. It's the kind of thing I know you probably won't be able to tell after it's quilted, but it's like it was a 4.5 inch block, I think, and it had like 8 seams of like 8 half square triangles by 8 half square triangles, and that finished out to like 5.5 or 4.5 inch square or whatever. So it was not the same size as all the other ones, and I remade that one like 3 times.
That's when you just like add some extra border.
Yeah.
So on it.
Yep. So I had to just like work with it, and so I feel like you can't do that with clothes.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm back at the next corner, and I just go ahead and go through my loop twice just to kind of secure just at the corner.
Okay.
And then I'll flip this up, and you can see the stitches, which direction. Oops.
Back toward you. You got it.
That's
wow. Okay, let me look at that. Okay.
So
So you can see
probably
a
can
tiny
see.
bit.
Yeah.
So you probably do want to use a thread that you at least like, whether it'll blend in or not. But that really is not that visible, especially once it's in a large quilt. Like right now, you're examining that one seam.
Yeah.
But like when it's all put together, you probably aren't going to be examining it like that. So, wow. Okay, so do you cut the thread or do you leave it?
Then I leave it and I just put the next one on
Okay.
and just do the same thing. And I would just go through the, next corner and start this next row if I could pick it up. The right way.
Okay.
So you see, and then I'm just going to knot it at this corner. And then continue on down until I've added them all the
Okay.
way around.
Gotcha. Very cool. Okay, so then she came very prepared with what it looks like when they're all connected to the center, but they're not connected to each other yet. So you gotta get used to how these cameras are, right?
Yes. I'm like, where is it? Okay.
So you can see here, so she did that all the way around, and you're leaving your papers in this whole time.
I am.
So you're not going to take your papers out until you're done and you're ready to either applique it or something like that, I assume?
Yeah, and since I have a lot to make, I'm thinking I'm going to have to use a lot of steam.
Okay.
Because I don't want to take them out. I mean, I could take the middle out now that I've sewn them all together to it. And I may do that, as I start getting a bigger pile. And then if I want to, I haven't decided what I want to do yet. So maybe once I decide, like, hey, I'm going to not just put them right next to each other. I'm going to.
She has all of these. Look at that. So cool. But that's a lot of paper to take out, too.
Yeah. That's why I'd like to try that hexiform, because you can leave it in.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah, something to think about.
Okay, so now we're going to sew. It's funny because I was like, well, how do you do this if the middle is in there? And someone told me once, well, paper bends. Yes. And I was like, oh, I literally never thought of that. I felt like you had to leave it.
Right.
So I guess you do have to bend it a little bit?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And it works out just fine. Let's see, where did I end? Okay, so I've ended here. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm on the front, I've ended right here. And those corners aren't matching exactly, so I will just kind of bend this down.
So you're bending the middle one to
Just
get the two side ones together.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And then I will do just what I did when I attached it to the middle. I'll go through the two corners.
I'm going to also, this is...
That's okay.
Okay, you're going to go through the two corners. And then create a little knot.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very visual learner.
Yeah, me too.
And so when I am thinking of a new technique or I'm looking at a quilt that's been made and I'm trying to figure out how they did it, this is one of the parts that I have this mental hurdle. I need to see it actually done because it feels like attaching a hexagon on 3 sides would be really complicated. And it's not really, but you kind of just need to watch it. And then you're like, oh, that's not as hard as I thought it would be. Did you learn this from a video or?
Just watching that woman, Emma Jones.
Okay.
And then, just watching other people and just practicing, doing it. Well, actually, when I really did a bunch of these was I thought that I would not like this as much as I do, and I had a cross stitch also with me when my daughter moved last July out of the country. So we took her, and I brought this as a project and cross stitch, and I got a little cross stitch done, but then I did this, and I was like, oh,
You ended up liking it
yeah,
more than you thought.
I do, yeah.
I'm going to grab this pattern while you stitch. I'm gonna. Okay, so at the beginning, Maria showed us a couple projects that she made using this English paper piecing technique. I wanted to show you guys this pattern. It's called Summer Fun, and it's mostly traditional piecing. But we have this block, and this block that have little flowers in them. And those are English paper pieced. And so this is a new club we have starting next month. It's a Block of the Month club. I believe it's only 6 months long, so it's shorter than most of our Block of the Month clubs. But I wanted to show this to you guys because I think that the English paper piecing on this scale is not that hard. So if you wanted a project to try it you only make 4 of the flowers for this quilt. The rest of it's traditional piecing, and it's very, very easy traditional piecing. So if you're looking for more of a beginner level class, or not class, but project, and you want to make a couple of these flowers, but you don't want to dive into like a grandmother's flower garden quilt or something like that, then this would be a great one for you. I'm just going to put the link here on the screen in case you're interested. So it's called Summer Fun, and it's one of our subscriptions on our website. So you can go to justsostudio.com and you can check that out if you want. We haven't done a whole like EPP focused Block of the Month yet, but I think this one's just a really nice basic one because the traditional piecing itself is very simple and it's only 6 months long, and the English paper piecing is very manageable. So I feel like this is a really good beginner-friendly project to both traditional piecing and EPP. So,
okay.
All right, you're finishing up this one?
I'm finishing up, so I'm going to do the same thing I did at the other corner, of course. And I only put one, but what I like to do is actually go back and kind of end away from the corner, so I don't have a tail, at every single corner like that. So that's probably good enough, and then I'll make another knot.
Because with your other ones, you continued around,
right.
And this one you're not doing that. Okay,
right.
That makes sense.
Let's see here. And then
okay, look at that. That's awesome. So you can see doing that all the way around, this comes together pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it is relaxing for me,
yeah.
But like I said, I can't do it for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right, let me get this moved over here. Okay, so I just love all of these blocks that you've made. So this is her little stack here. Haven't figured out what you want to do with it yet.
Not yet.
So you can make it really fun and scrappy. You can make it out of some type of pre-cut. Like I know 1.5-inch hexes go really well with mini charms, like the 2.5-inch squares. And then, or you can just do scraps from your stash or whatever you want to do, or a club like this, or a YouTube video with the free pattern or something. So what's the name of the lady that you like again?
It's Emma Jones Vintage Sewing Box.
Okay, so she had the pattern for the little scissors holder. And then I also wanted to see your thimble because I want to see if I can get these, but these are fun. These are ergonomically correct thimbles, and I want to see if I can order any because I can barely feel it on my finger, and I usually hate thimbles. So she showed those to me, and I was like, oh, I need to get some. So I'll let you guys know if I can find those, if I can order them anywhere. They'll be on a live or something like that if I can find them. But thank you so much for showing us. I saw your stack when you brought them in a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have her teach me.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah,
thanks, Cassie.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. As a reminder, the Thursday evening sip and sew is canceled for the next 2 weeks because I'm getting married. So my wedding's 10 days away, and so next week I'll be at my rehearsal dinner, and then the week after that I'll be on my honeymoon. So I'll see you guys after that. The schedule for May I'll post at some point, but I know that for sure that I'm doing a sew together bag for at least 2 weeks in May. So I'll let you guys know what that's going to be like, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much to Maria, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.